What's up, everyone? It's your boy Financial Charles back at it again with another YouTube video. I know I haven't made a video in quite some time, but I just wanted to make this quick video because I haven't made a video in a long time. This one is going to be about how I went from $0 to $120,000 in 1 year. And the way I did it, I think anyone can do what I did. There's nothing special about what I did. It is just pure conviction and just having faith. Not even having faith, but just doing your due diligence and doing your research. And $0 to $120,000 in your pocket is that's a large accomplishment, because, even if you're making a 120K salary, you're not going to have a $120,000 in your pocket after 1 year, because that's 120K before tax. So after tax, you're probably down to less than six figures. And then you have to pay for living expenses, which takes down even more. So for me, what I did was, let's say it was November 2022. Right? I was like, that's the bottom of the bear market. FTX just collapsed. And then my coworker at the real estate firm, he says to me, he's like, yeah, man, it's all over. He shows me the FTX news on his computer. He's like, yeah, man, it's all over. Are you sure crypto's safe? Are you sure you want to be doing this? And I said, bro, according to history, this is the best time in history to buy. So he perfectly called the bottom, in hindsight. And then here I am, I'm lump summing every single check. I quit that job in December of 2022, and then I started this new job in February 2023. So from February 2023 to February 2024, I went from $1,000 in February 2023, and then by the time February 2024 came, I had $100,000, a little bit over 100,000, probably 105 or something. And then by March of 2024, when Bitcoin was at $74,000, I had $120,000, and that's profit, that's in my pocket, So basically how I did that was I started this new job February 2023. I went in with maybe $1,000 to $2,000, and of course it's going to be all in Bitcoin. And that's the key right there. Every single dollar I made, I threw it all into Bitcoin. Every single check, I put every single dollar into Bitcoin. Now, life is not free. You have to pay for food, gas, car insurance, phone bill, all that stuff. You have to pay for all that. And basically what I did was I opened up a credit card with a 0% APR for the first 12 months. That's the key. So while you throw every single dollar from your check into Bitcoin, you just put your living expenses like your food and your gas onto the 0% credit card, and then you just pay it off in 12 months when the 12 months is up, when the 0% APR is up. So that's what I did. You accumulate your living expenses on a 0% credit card and throw all the money into Bitcoin. But that's not all. As you know, in the whole 2023, the first 6 months, or I would say the first 9 months of 2023, it was hovering in that 25-30K range. And what I did was I had multiple credit cards. I had 10 credit cards. And, those 10 credit cards come from, opening up credit cards from years before, 2020, 2021, 2022, I was opening up credit cards. So by the time, 2023 hit, I had 10 credit cards. And basically there were balance transfer offers on those credit cards. If you don't know what a balance transfer is, that's when you were able to cash out your credit balance from your credit card. You just pay a fee. And my fee, it was 3 to 5%. So I was willing to pay pretty much a 5% fee to take out a loan, and then I threw everything into Bitcoin. When it was in that 25-30,000 range. I took out, you can, watch the videos. I took out $20,000 worth of credit card debt, and I threw it all into Bitcoin. And it bought me almost a full Bitcoin at the time. But this whole strategy of just lump summing every single check, and then, taking out the $20,000 to, throw it into Bitcoin, that's what allowed me to get to 1.5 Bitcoins. You know what I'm saying? And, with that credit card balance, you have 12 months to pay it off before that 0% is up, So my strategy was, take out the debt, throw it into Bitcoin, and then whatever the price of Bitcoin is in 12 months, sell off whatever you have, just sell off enough to pay off the credit card. So that's what I did, I took out $20,000 to, lump sum it into Bitcoin, and then I'm lump summing all my checks too. And the beauty of my job is if you pick up shifts, you get a bonus. So if you're working over 40 hours, everyone gets the overtime, but I would get the overtime and the bonus. So it's like there was such high incentive to pick up as many shifts as possible, and that's exactly what I did. And the checks were fat, you know, I was working long hours, but at the end of the day, I was able to just DCA every 2 weeks these fat checks. And, you know, I got to where I was. I remember when Bitcoin was at like 30K and then it dipped to 25K, and that's when I made the video of, you know, buy Bitcoin at $26,000, do not wait. And that's when I, you know, took out the credit card debt and then I threw it into Bitcoin. And then after that, it rallied all the way from 25 to 75,000. You know, the money literally tripled. And then what I did is in May, they say to sell in May and go away. So I sold in May. I sold just enough to wipe out all my credit card debt, you know, from the balance transfers and from the living expenses. So, you know, it wasn't the full 12 months that I gave it. But it's good. It's good. Like the 12 month today would have been the 12th month, you know, and I would be here selling Bitcoin at $59,000, which is still more than double what $25,000 was. But like, yeah, I sold it at around, I'd kind of DCA'd out, you know, sold some at 69, 68, 67, and I even sold some at, you know, 63, 62, 61, all that stuff. But at the end, it worked. Like, you know, I sold off, so I'm completely just debt free, and, you know, and I keep all these coins. But yeah, in March, when, you know, Bitcoin hit $74,000, that's when I was at $120,000. And, you know, it shows you the power of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin going up is an inevitability. There's no stopping it. Like, you know, it's common sense at this point, bro. But, you know, the credit card strategy, you know, debt is like, a lot of people are scared to do that. But when you really understand Bitcoin, but not only Bitcoin, you really understand fiat money like US dollar, it's like, when they say debt's bad, it's all propaganda. High interest rate debt, of course, that's garbage. You got to pay that off as soon as possible. But if you can get a low interest rate debt and then use the borrowed money to invest in assets that outpace the debt, that's a winning equation. So if you can take out debt at 5% or less, and then you invest it in an asset that appreciates 10% per year on average, just like the S&P 500, you know, averages returns of 10% over the past 50 years, now, like, that is a winning equation. But the thing is, like, Bitcoin outpaces the S&P 500. So that's like the best strategy ever. You know, Michael Saylor, in his the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, when he was making his speech, he says that there are maxis, double maxis, and triple maxis. And what I did in 2023 was pure triple maxi strategy. He says that, you know, a maxi has some money in Bitcoin, like a significant portion of his net worth in Bitcoin. The double maxi has all of his net worth in Bitcoin. And then the triple maxi has all of his net worth in Bitcoin and then takes out debt to buy more Bitcoin. And that's exactly the strategy that I chose. And that's what allowed me to go from $0 to $120,000 in a year. And here, let me explain this. Like, if you have $0 and you take out a $100,000 loan at 5% interest, and then you invest it in, let's say, the S&P 500, which grows 10% a year, it's like, all right, January 1st, you have $0, so then you borrow $100,000 at 5%, and then you put in the S&P. Fast forward 1 year later to December 31st, at the end of the year, you no longer owe $100,000, you owe $105,000. And then the S&P 500 that you bought, it's no longer worth $100,000, it's worth $110,000. So now you have $110,000 of assets, but you owe $105,000. So you made $5,000, you know? Like 110 minus 105 equals $5,000 left over. And that's just, you don't have to do anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just, like, that's a winning equation. Like, you just like, you know, keep on studying Bitcoin, you get to the point where it's like, you realize how worthless the fiat currency is, especially considering the fact that Jerome Powell prints like, whenever whenever they want, whenever they need to fund their unfunded liabilities, whenever the US government needs to fund their unfunded liabilities. You know what I'm saying? Like, the money printer will always stay on. So it is always in your best interest to borrow as much debt as possible and just service the debt. Don't even pay off the debt. When they say debt is bad, it's propaganda. High interest rate debt is bad, but if you can get an interest rate of 5% or less, that's a winning strategy, especially considering the fact that true inflation of the dollar is probably around 7%. They say CPI is 3%, but what they don't tell you is that they pick and choose what is in the basket of, CPI, if, like, they remove groceries from the CPI so that way CPI doesn't go above 3%. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all just fake. It's all fake. When they say CPI is 3%, it's so fake. True inflation should take in consideration the inflation of valuable goods, such as the S&P 500. True inflation, you're losing 7% of your value every single year that you hold the dollar. So if you borrow money at an interest rate of 5% and you just hold it, you don't even invest it, you're still winning. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Forget what I said there. If you take out the debt at 5% and then you invest it, that's a winning strategy. Like I said, that's a winning strategy. And then Bitcoin outpaces S&P, so that's a winning strategy. Like, if debt was bad, how come all these millionaires and billionaires have millions of dollars of debt? Debt is a tool to make you more money. Simple. Now, if you use debt to buy consumer goods, now you're a loser. That's how you lose. But if you take out debt to buy assets that outpace the debt, that's how you win. You know what I'm saying? But do I think the Bitcoin bull run is over? I don't think it's over. Even though I sold enough to completely wipe out all my debts, I'm still lump summing. Every single 2 weeks, I'm still lump summing every single dollar into Bitcoin. And I'm still picking up a ton of overtime shifts so I can lump sum everything into Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? So to sum it up, that's how I went from $0 to $120,000 in a year. You pick up overtime shifts, you lump sum every single check into Bitcoin, you put your living expenses on a 0% APR credit card and pay it off in 12 months when the credit card is when the 0% is up, and then you get more credit cards, and then you balance transfer those credit cards. You take out cash out of those credit cards, and then you throw that cash into Bitcoin. And then you just pay off that credit card in 12 months when the 0% APR is up. It's simple math. But yeah, that's why I made that one video, why it's good to take out debt to buy Bitcoin. And, that's just what it is. Bitcoin going up is an inevitability. So it's a race to get as much Bitcoin as possible. Simple. There's only 21 million Bitcoins forever, for eternity. And there's 8.1 billion people in the world. So even if you have one Bitcoin, you're up there. You're up there. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have 0.28 Bitcoin, that guarantees that you have more Bitcoin than 99% of the world population forever. It's mathematically impossible for more than 1% of people in the world to have more Bitcoin than you if you hold 0.28 Bitcoin. And that's assuming you divide all 21 million coins amongst the top 80 million people evenly, which is not possible. There are lost coins. Satoshi lost 1 million coins. And then you got BlackRock holding 350,000 Bitcoins. You have MicroStrategy holding over 200,000 Bitcoins. You have Michael Saylor, who has personally a stash of over 17,000 Bitcoins. Then you got Billy Bob Joe down the street, who has 2 Bitcoins. You have this guy on Reddit has 4 Bitcoins. You have me that has over 1 Bitcoin. All these people that have more than 0.28 Bitcoins, they're severely skewing the number. So if you have 0.28 Bitcoins, more likely than not, you're way more than the top 1%. You're way more than the top 1%. At worst case scenario, you are the top 1%. You know what I'm saying? So moral of the story is just buy Bitcoin. Buy as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. Like, I still do the 401k match because it's an automatic 100% return. And it's a way of diversification, you know what I'm saying? But just put everything into Bitcoin. And I've been saying this since 2020. since November 2020, this has been my strategy. You know what I'm saying? Now, I had $70,000 in 2021, but obviously I lost it due to, you know, the fraudulent exchange thanks to Celsius, you know what I'm saying? And even then, you know, like, if someone lost $70,000, a lot of people would have just ended it all. They would have just given up on life. But me, it's like, I knew what went wrong. I learned my lesson and I kept the pedal to the metal, you know? If you think about it, if anyone else lost $70,000 and went down to not even, I mean, in my previous videos, I'll tell you, like, you know, I went from $70,000 to negative $5,000. Not even zero, but negative $5,000. Like, if that happened to anyone else, they would have given up. You know what I'm saying? This is a story about persistence, dedication. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I was at negative $5,000, it was pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal. And even now when I'm hella up, you know, it's still pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal. 100,000 is not enough. 120,000 is not enough. $500,000 is not going to be enough. 1 million is not going to be enough. You know, even 2 million. 2 million is the bare minimum to be considered multimillionaire, you know? But a true multimillionaire is 10 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, always shoot for the stars. Always shoot for the stars. Because even if you always shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you will land amongst the stars. You know what I'm saying? My goal is to get to $50 million. But even if I miss, at least I'll still have 10 million, you know? But I really think 20 million is realistic. And I'm not talking about being 65 with 20 million either. But, you know, by the time I hit 20 million, what the fuck is 20 million? You know what I'm saying? USD, worthless, you know? But yeah, that's all I had to say. Moral of the story is USD is worthless. Stop holding on to that garbage. Just put everything into Bitcoin. That's it. That's the video.